A couple of months ago, Capcom released a Resident Evil 4 Remake survey in response to its release. This survey included questions about the character design, storytelling, really just anything that has to do with the game and its release. But at the end of this survey, there was a question that they asked that kinda lit a fire in the Resident Evil community. They basically asked if there were any other Resident Evil games that the fans wanted to be remade, or more so, what they would like to see next, because it's very obvious that with as much money as these remakes are making, they have no intention of stopping. Now, at the end of the Resident Evil 4 remake, we see a cutscene between Wesker and Ada, and on Wesker's TV screen, it appears that there is plenty of setup for a Resident Evil 5 remake. Thus, that is what everyone has begun to speculate around, as well as a lot of diehard fans of the Resident Evil Code Veronica entry wanting a Code Veronica remake as well. I don't know how I feel about that. I think it would be very silly for them to remake Resident Evil 4 first and then go back to the game literally right before it and remake that, because if you were gonna remake Code Veronica, it would just make sense that they did that before the Resident Evil 4 remake, since that's literally the game in the timeline that leads right up to Resident Evil 4. So logically, you can assume that we got Resident Evil 2 remake, then 3 make, then 4 make. It would make sense and wouldn't be crazy to expect a Resident Evil 5 remake. Now, while that may be the most logical answer, that obviously doesn't mean that's what the player base wants. Not too long ago, we got the results for the survey, and it showed something quite surprising. Here we can see that Resident Evil Code Veronica X, Resident Evil 5, and Resident Evil are the top 3 answers. Now, Code Veronica X being number 1 is not a surprise at all, as that's what everybody has been going crazy over and wanting for the past few months now. But what I find most interesting is that Resident Evil is more wanted than a Resident Evil 5 remake. That, combined with the fact that earlier this year Capcom took down 2 Resident Evil 1 and Code Veronica X remake projects made by fans, kinda leaves you to wonder, is Resident Evil 5 going to be next? Is it just as easy as 2, 3, 4, 5? Now, what I want to leave to y'all is, how do you think they could go about making a remake of a remake? Would it be just like, just remaking a game that has never been remade? Would it be the same as that, or would they have to take another approach? I personally know lately I've been enjoying Resident Evil 1 remake quite a lot. I'm actually going for the platinum right now. It is the most fun I've had playing a Resident Evil game in a long time. It was pretty hard at first, but it feels really good to understand and learn how to play the game. And maybe this is a hot take, but I would love to see a Resident Evil engine game made with fixed camera angles, like Resident Evil 1 Remake having the fixed camera angles like it does in the original. That would be amazing. Also, what would they call it? Would they just call it Resident Evil 1? Or would they just call it Resident Evil remake? I don't know. It's gonna be a weird situation. But yeah, I'll leave that up to you guys down in the comment section below. I'd love to hear what you guys think about it. Yeah, that's all for this video.